Alrighty, lumberjacks, welcome back to another episode of FDR Logging, because that is who we are and that's what we're doing. What are we doing in this map right now? So we got a bunch of logs laying around. We had that Clark that we filled up. We were thinking about moving the block up here. So what I might do, we got to go find our truck and trailer, which has been so nicely loaded. Oh yeah, I remember that one episode where I loaded that and it didn't have the right collisions, so I wasn't able to load it properly. But now it does, so we should be good. As long as I can get around this turn, which is rather sharp. And we should be able to do it. Oh, maybe a little tight. Run over some logs. There we go. A little tight, but we got her. So what is this episode? What are we going to talk about? We're going to talk about, in this episode, letting go. This was an interesting, this was a really interesting conversation I had with a coworker just recently, yesterday actually. So, lots of places I've worked, lots of places, lots of people work. We have the, struggles, we have conflicts, we have problems with coworkers, we have problems with supervisors, we have problems with our higher up bosses, we have problems across the board all the time. And as humans, and being the humans that we are, we all seem to whine, bitch, and complain about it. Sorry, there's one thing I'm just looking at here. Looks like I'm getting dirt on this trailer, but there's not supposed to be dirt on that trailer. Just a minute, I gotta make a note of that really quick because trailer, because it's not gonna form properly. What's that? B train and pup. Okay, I'll fix that for the next thing there. Interesting. But yeah, anyway, sorry. So, yeah, we have conflicts throughout our jobs, our lives, our relationships, our everything. Life is all about little mini conflicts and dramas, right? So, my coworker and I were discussing it, and we were talking about at what point do we just get to where we say, you know, enough is enough. Why are we wasting our time arguing and fighting about it? Why not just give up? If we can't change it and we're not willing to change it, or we don't have the ability to change it, when do you just stop worrying about it? Just give up and say screw it. Like, it is what it is, and you just got to deal with that, right? When is that point? When do we hit that point? It was just an interesting conversation. I really enjoyed the talk of it, because it was like, well, yeah, I don't know. We all eventually do kind of get to that point where we just, you know, either you fight it forever to the point where you stress yourself out and you feel like crap, or you just go, I guess that's how it is, and call it good. I've never lifted this trailer with this claw, so we'll see how this goes. We're kind of parked at an angle here too, but there should be enough weight. I should get her here. It's a little bit of an angle, but we'll pull ahead here. Oh, there should do it. But yeah, when is that point? When do we reach it, you know? And do we just keep going on for the rest of our lives struggling about the same issues? I mean, you guys out there can't tell me that you don't have a coworker somewhere that has that same issue, right? You can't tell me that. Or you don't have that same issue with your bosses or your coworkers or your whatever. Oops, got the wrong one connected here. This is a bad example. Oh, there we go. Maybe what we'll do is fill up that back bunk with logs here. We'll fill up that pup with the logs that we have here, or whatever we can fit on there, and then we'll work our way back up the front. But yeah, sorry, I'm half zoned out here thinking about what I'm doing on these episodes. That's the hard part about doing these episodes when we're talking about topics, because I'm like trying to focus my brain on what I'm doing in the game as well as what I'm talking about. But yeah, so like I said, there's enough of you out there that obviously all humans are pretty well in the same boat as far as dramatic incline goes. So we all have the same kind of stuff going on, where we have issues, we have drama, we have concerns, we have problems, whatever, right? But when do you just give up on an issue? When do you just start being like, you know, the dude in Big Lebowski and just be like, it's all good, man? You know, like, when do we just stop? Right? I mean, a lot of the issues that we have aren't even usually concerned. Well, okay, from what I hear from lots of people, and I listen to a lot of people, and I really do listen. I don't just sit there and agree. I listen, and I want to hear what they have to say. A lot of people, I hear the complaints, I hear the concerns, and a lot of it is about stuff that doesn't even really concern them. It's not even their problem. So I realize, like, people get bored and, you know, need some entertainment of some kind, but at what point do you just go, you know what, maybe I should just not worry about this because it's not really causing me any harm right now? I know that doesn't sound like real life, though, does it? Because everybody's got to get up in everybody else's business. But it's an interesting concept, isn't it? Very interesting concept. But yeah, I don't know. I think people need to just relax and realize that we just can't control everything that we want to control as much as we want to. I mean, everybody wants to be able to, you know, make their own decisions. And you know what? At the end of the day, if something is so bad that you can't handle it anymore, maybe it's time you moved on. If you can't fix it and no one else is willing to fix it and no one else sees it the way you see it, it might just be a you problem. A lot of people don't want to hear that, but it's absolutely true. 100% true. Let's put the butts kind of this way. I think that'll help us out. Actually, it's kind of a mixed bag here. I don't know which way the butts are facing. There you go. But yeah, anyway, like I said, me and my coworker were just shooting the shot there, and I was like, yeah, you know what? We give way too much concern to things that, I guess maybe it's just boredom, right? You know, you're sitting at a job that you may or may not like, and, you know, you have your own problems that you have, so it's easy to focus on something stupid as opposed to fixing it. I've met more people in my life, like, I'm a big problem solver, right? A lot of guys are. It's a problem solving is a big thing, right? But I'm a big problem solver. I like to, if I can find a solution to fix a problem, let's do it. But there's a lot of people out there that have problems that don't want solutions. And that's a hard thing for me to understand, just in general. Like, some people just want constant conflict, drama, toxic behaviors. Otherwise, they just can't survive or something. It's really weird. I've had a lot of that in my personal life with my family. I've had a lot of that with, you know, certain friendships that are no longer existing. But yeah, it's interesting the many different forms of people and their dramatic tendencies. But like I said, I guess you gotta just decide for yourself what's good for you and what you want to do and how much you'll accept, I guess, right? That's kind of what it comes down to. And if you want to keep the drama and the toxicity going, that's kind of on you sometimes. It's not necessarily up to the person that you're upset with. But, I mean, you can get as deep as you want on that subject, but I'm sure you could go many layers. Oh, let's see if we can sprinkle those in there. Nice. Oh, yeah, that's not too bad. Oop. Hey, look at that. That's a nice little bunk. And what do we do right away? We lock it, because you never know what's going to happen with that bunk after we get on this little incline. So get in, lock that sucker. So she's good to go. So back this guy up here, and I can't back up a B train to save my life, so we're just going to go by the true will of hope and prayer to get it even at that corner a little bit. That's close enough. Okay, now I'm going to walk this loader up. Oh, we're going the wrong way here. There we go. Yeah, I don't know. You guys can probably relate to all kinds of things in your own lives. I'm sure everybody can, right? Where you're just like, everyone's complaining about that one thing or this one frustration that nobody understands but you, or everybody understands but the person that should, and it just becomes like this frustrating, ghouly mess, right? And yeah, it is. It's very frustrating. Very, very much so. But the real question is, what do you do about it, right? Can you change it? Are there positive steps to be able to change what you're trying to do? Is it a possible thing to do? Or are you fighting an endless battle that nothing will ever change? And then at what point do you let go? Letting go. How long do you want to fight for? I'm not saying that there aren't causes out there or problems or issues that aren't worth fighting for in the long run, but I guess it really matters if there's an end goal to your plan, right? Like, can you achieve this grandeur plan of ending whatever problem you have? Is that a thing? And if it isn't, actually, I'm going to just throw these two piles together because it's going to be hard to bring that other pile back. So we'll chuck these two together. I'll load up here, and then I will unload that Clark forwarder over there too. But yeah, anyway, not to get too deep on weird subjects or anything, but I'm sure you guys have related to it. You know, it's really easy at certain places. So I've worked in so many different jobs in so many different places and worked with so many different teams. I've worked with managers, I've worked with senior managers, I've worked with just the grunt crew on the bottom. So I've seen, like, I feel very confident that I've seen pretty much every layer of workforce, except for maybe like well, you know what? I've even worked with CEOs and stuff, like, of companies. So I know a fair deal of how that works. And everywhere you go, it's always the person above you who's absolutely stupid and dumb and doesn't know what they're doing, and they're an idiot. And yes, there are varying degrees of that where I would also agree or disagree depending on the situation. But for me, and the most positive success I've ever had in companies, businesses, anything that I've worked in, okay, so we as staff are mad about something, right? Everybody's upset about something. Okay. Can our supervisor fix it? Do they have that in their ability? Is that their role, right? Look into that. Is it something I can push as a worker harder to get that acknowledged, right? I feel a lot of people are too scared to speak up. They're really in the lunchroom. They can really chat it up about how strong their opinions are and how much, you know, terrible the company is, or how terrible the people are, or how terrible that one coworker is, or how terrible that one boss is. But I find when it comes down to reality of actually dealing with that problem, like, okay, you know what? That coworker's here right now. Okay, you know what? That boss or supervisor is here right now. We're going to go talk to them, and we're going to face this issue, and we're going to solve it. I'll tell you, there aren't a lot of people that will do that. Everybody's happy to yell and scream in the back door meetings and in the lunchroom and talk about what a terrible place it is. And suddenly when they're put on the spot in front of those people where they can actually make an opinion or a change, a lot of them ghost out. They're scared. They're scared maybe that their opinion won't be heard the way that they want it to be heard. Maybe they're scared that they're going to get, like, you know, lose their job or get criticized for what they're doing. But honestly, I think if you're working for a half-decent company and you phrase your concerns in a solutionistic, if that's even a word, manner. I always tell people, if you have a problem and you want it solved and you have an idea to fix it, don't run to your manager and say, this is all crap, this is bullshit, everything's horrible, and you guys suck at your job. Obviously, that doesn't work, right? They don't want to hear it. Nobody wants to hear that. In fact, if you do it like that, people are going to be like, you know what, you're an idiot. But if you can frame it in a productive way, I'm not saying this works all the time, but if you can frame it in a productive way where you offer a solution to the problem, that's not company breaking. Like, oh, I have a solution, but it's going to cost the company $20 million. Yeah, well, that's not a solution, right? That's not a tangible solution. You need a solution that will work, usually lowest budget you possibly can get to fix it. And a lot of times, it's got to be something that's doable in a short time frame, right? And if you can find something, and the reason I say it like this is, if you can find a solution like that, that is the kind of stuff that a manager wants to have. Because if you can't find a solution and you don't have any ideas, well, sometimes that's the reason why the problem hasn't changed, because the manager can't find a solution either. The owner can't find a solution either, right? So sometimes there isn't an easy solution that's doable, right? But if you think of something and it's like, oh man, this is actually a really good idea, it's really easy, they can implement it and it wouldn't be a big deal, and you bring it to them and you show them how it would work, most places will work towards that. Most places that I've worked. Now, granted, I'm not going to pretend like all of them are really great like that, because some places will not do it, because some places have terrible management, and some places have terrible supervisors. So sometimes you'll bring an idea or a concern with a solution to them, and they still look at you like, yeah, that's never going to happen, because shut up and get back in line. At that point, you are now at a company that you probably shouldn't be working for, unless you're just doing it for some extra money and then you're planning on getting out. But plan an exit strategy for a company like that. Because I've worked for a few that are like that, where solutions are not what they're looking for. They seem to relish the idea of employees not having a good time because I don't know if it's payback or what is going on there, but there's something up with that. So, like I said, most companies that I've worked with, I've offered solutions, because that's how I am. I'm just a very problem-solving, trial and error. Obviously, you guys know from my modding, literally from modding, that's just the kind of personality I am. I'm like, hey, how can we do this better? And is the option to make it better tangible? Like, is it actually something we can do that doesn't, isn't going to cost the company its entire business in profit, and isn't going to violently affect the lives of everybody who works here? So if you can present that case, most people are really going to be happy with you. But if you're just going to run around and yell, this company sucks, everyone sucks, they never do anything that I want, unless you've given them solutions, in which case you should just move on, because it's better for your reputation and your own sanity to move on from a company that isn't listening to good ideas and listening to good people. Just run away, because it's never going to get better. Or maybe it won't in your time working there. Identify that, because that's a big one. And we're driving up a muddy hill dragging a pup, so this would work out really good in real life. How are we going to do this? Maybe we'll just kind of whip it around here. I guess we're going to load from this deck, because we're right here already. Like about there-ish. Sure, we'll try that. But yeah, it's kind of a wild concept, just working for companies and getting different opinions of different things. So maybe what I'm going to do is I'm going to load this front bunk first. I'm going to tailor it a little heavier to the front if I can, like towards the truck, so I got a little bit more space on that back deck. Because I'm using these really short logs, it's not so bad, but I need a little bit of space. A little bit of space on that middle bunk, because I don't want it hitting the tongue of the pup, which is a strong possibility here. Yeah, floating up there a bit, hey? Oh, whatever. But yeah, always look for solutions and never be afraid to speak up. That's the big one. And speaking up, I think what happens to a lot of people, and I've witnessed this time and time again, is you have somebody who's worked at a place a really long time, or not even a long time, doesn't even have to be, but they're frustrated about something. Well, they pent up all this aggression and anger about this thing, and then when they finally let it out because they work up the courage to say something, whether it be to the company or to HR or to whatever, they're very outbursty about it, I guess you could say. Like they maybe aggressive, I guess you could say, really aggressive about it, because they're trying to get it out of their system, and it took up a lot of courage for them to actually say what they're trying to say. So it kind of comes off as being really a little bit much sometimes. Because I've worked with some guys that were like, sat on this thing that's been driving them nuts, it's driving them nuts, and then finally the supervisor's doing like a safety meeting or something, and then just, oh, why do we do this? This is so stupid, and they freak out really loud, and everybody just looks at him like, whoa, this guy's going crazy over there, what the hell? And really, he's just frustrated and trying to express an actual legitimate concern, but it just comes off really bad, and then he feels embarrassed, and, you know, like, I've seen that lots. So if you're the kind of person that wants to say something, try to articulate it. You know what I also say? Write an email and reference that email. Because I find it's way easier to write down your concerns in an email in text form, and send it to a supervisor, send it to a whatever, to get that concern solved. And if they don't respond, or you want to further that conversation, then be like, as per my email, you can kind of reference it, right? You can go, hey, this is what I was talking about. This is what I meant. You know, I mentioned it here in this part of the email. That's what I'm really concerned about. Yada, yada, yada. That's the kind of stuff you can do. Just as an idea, right? For some people, but like I said, it doesn't work everywhere. And some places are just not going to be as open to feedback as others, and that's just the way that goes, right? Just trying to fill up this one side here. Oops. But yeah, I don't know. I'm sure all of you have worked at all your multitudes of different places and experienced all the multitudes of different things. Oops. Well, see, what I should have been doing is loading that back, that middle bunk first, because now I'm going to run out of room for my swings here. I'm trying to drop that one little one, but this is not going to work out. Shoot. Well, I guess this one's going to go on that middle bunk, whether I like it or not. And if I load... Well, we got enough room here. I can load that a little bit. Bunk forward a bit. Let's flick this down a little here. Oop. Ah, you bugger. It slid right out of the cradle. Okay, so let's just go back a little bit here. See that tongue sticking out on that end there? That's why you can't really get too close to it or it gets a little ugly. Donk. Okay, let's grab this one. Let's see if we can drop it right in there all nice like. Ooh, that's pretty smooth. I like that. That felt good. All right, back to it here. Yeah, so anyway, interesting conversation points, eh? Well, it's gonna be too heavy, I think. Oh, don't tip the truck, don't do it. That's why when I kind of drop it and spin, and then I can kind of drag it a bit. You probably wouldn't want to do that in real life because you would probably damage the logs or get them all covered in mud. But luckily, we're all good because this is just what we're doing here, so. Try to trickle these into this bunk here a bit. Must have one doing a crisscross applesauce here. That one right there. See this little one that went kind of sideways here? This game don't like it when it goes sideways. There we go. But hey, we're getting quite a bit on there. And like I said, we're kind of at a little bit of an angle here. Not like a crazy angle, but definitely a little bit of one. And we'll go slip that guy right in there. Perfect. Well, not perfect, but as good as we get. Worried more about that front bunk sliding forward, but I think it's doing okay. Gotta keep penciling all these because they've slid down the hill and they're a little off kilter here. I don't like having to pencil every single time, but sometimes, you know what? That's just life, man. Sometimes that just be how it is. So yeah, I don't know. And like I said, either you find new companies to work at if things are not going well, or you just, yeah, let go. Don't worry about it. If nobody wants to fix it and you can still somehow survive the day without it being perfect, then just go with the flow, man. Go with the flow. That's starting to be my That'll be my New Year's resolution for 2026. Just go with the flow. Go with the flow and just let go. Oh man, this one don't want pencil ticket, does it? Oh, there we go. You start feeling my machine get a little bit tippy, but not too bad. Well, we're also doing 5-meter logs. These are just the little wee guys, so it's not too bad. Once you get more into the bigger stuff, like the 6s and the 7s, then you're not playing friendly there no more. I'm gonna start walking this way a little bit. But the one thing with the 5s is you can do them under the boom fairly well sometimes if you grab smaller. Oh, Jesus. I almost opened it right up on myself. And we'll just dunk that right in there. Actually getting quite a few here, huh? Wonder if we got enough. Can we fit that last little... I don't think that's going to fit on there. It's pretty big. The real question is, how big is this bunk? Got any room to play in there? It feels like it could. I think we're really pushing our limit here. Just trickle it on there, bud. Sorry, my brain is very focused here for a moment. If I bring this one over here... Nope. This one bite it a little bit. Give it a little slip. Oop. Oh, it's hitting the stake, I think, is the problem. There we go. Okay, that's good enough. Oh yeah, we can get it. I can't believe we got all that on there. That's gonna be ridiculous. This will just kind of feather on the top here. That's a pretty juicy load there. That's gonna be a hefty boy. We're not gonna have enough time in this. I'm already kind of over my regular time here, but I really wanted to get this load done. All right, we're going for the top sprinkle. Here we go. Give it a little tap. Just a little tap. Come on, boy. There you go. Oh, no. Oh. Party foul. I probably could have locked it and got away with that, but we didn't. All right, these two are going on the front, and then we're going to lock it. She'll stay. As long as I get in that truck really fast and hit the lock button, we'll be good. We got it! Oh, there's actually room on that front bunk. Oh, I should have pushed that back. I kind of felt like there was a bit of a gap there. How are we going to do this? We'll have to do like a big loop here because I can't back up a B train to save my life. Loop it, boy! Alright, we're going to park this kind of on the road, I think. That's probably a good idea. All this freaking rain and mud. Gross. Gross. That is disgusting. Okay. Look at our trailer's getting all horribly muddy, but it's not really muddy. It's like this weird brown. Anyway, that'll something I fix. Okay, well look at that beautiful load. Minus those two. Maybe it'll look better from this side. Nope, doesn't look better from that side either. All right, well, let's just leave it at that. All right, I'm going to leave it at that. Yeah, we'll catch you guys in the next one. See ya.